Alright, so today we're going to talk about sickle cell anemia. And this is a genetic disorder that causes frequent low blood and symptoms of pain and what have you. So sickle cell, I would say, is a genetic disorder. And let's break it down this way. How does it happen? So let's look here. So we first going to discuss the red blood cells because it's the red blood cells that is involved in this process. So a normal shape of the red blood cells is like this. A spiral shape, cycle like this. So this is a normal red blood cell shape. And a sickle cell shape is like a sickle shape. That's what I call a sickle cell. So this is the shape is sickle. So why is it that this cell leaves from this normal form and it's like this? Why the cell will be in this form? So when the cell is like this, it can normally flow through blood vessels at any part of the body, tiny vessels, because it's round, so it can easily flow through blood vessels. So the cells can flow easily through blood vessels without being clogged anywhere. But this one is in this moon shape, like a moon in a cloud, so it cannot flow through tiny vessels. So when it gets through tiny vessels, sometimes it want to clog. Let's say for instance, it's flowing through this large vessel, reaching here now, it just like this. It clog, other one come and clog, other one come, the clog is stick here. So blood now cannot flow through here to get to the tiny vessels called capillaries. So as a result, it can be a problem and will cause severe symptoms of pains. Alright, how does it happen that a person gets sickle cell? So there's a protein called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin, we just consider it as HB. Hemoglobin is a protein that is responsible for the oxygen level in the red cells, which gave it the red coloration. So now hemoglobin comprises of subunit proteins that we call the alpha globin and beta globin. So they are subunits of the hemoglobin. So they have two each. So this 2 alpha globin, any form of dysfunction or abnormal production of this alpha globin can give rise to another form of anemia called thalassemia. So, but how does the sickle cell anemia happen? So we say the hemoglobin beta supposed to produce a beta globin, but there will be sometimes an error that can occur, which we call mutation in genetics. Instead of HBB, you realize that the person will have HBS. So this S is the sickle cell gene. Alright, so now you realize that the person has a sickle cell gene and they are carrying the sickle cell gene, and that's how sickle cell can be developed. Okay, so sickle cell is a disease that can cause frequent low blood. And how does it happen now? Why is it that the person will be having frequent low blood all of the time? The reason is because of the lifespan. It takes about 120 days for the normal cells to survive and die. You know, the blood cells takes 120 days to die and be replaced. So the cells do not just live in you forever. We have cells death and cells repair. So every blood cells, the red blood cells, after 120 days, the cells die and new one is being produced. So in that 120 days, you will still maintain your blood level. You won't be having reduction in blood because the blood is still there, the hemoglobin is still there. But these cells will take about 10 to 20 days and it will die for new cells to be replaced. So if in 10 to 20 days you have cells dying every moment, you are exposed to having low blood often. So that's why people frequently experience low blood in sickle cell. So this condition is just genetic and parents can pass it to children. Now let's see what's the possibility that a parent can have a child with sickle cell. A parent that don't have sickle cell based on phenotype, except maybe genetically that is in a gene, but based on the phenotype which you can see physically, you will not notice any symptom of sickle cell on it. But how can they have a child that is having sickle cell on the phenotype and you can see clearly that the symptom is showing? So let's show something here. So here we have the father and we have the mother here. Alright, so let's consider that the father and the mother are carrier of the gene. So we said the normal hemoglobin gene is the A. So if S is added, it's a sickle cell gene. So this A gene, so you have people having AA, SS, AS. So this person does not have sickle cell at all. This person has sickle cell, and this person is carrying the gene of sickle cell, but there's no symptom on them. There's no symptom that you see manifesting. So now let's take for instance the both parents are carrier of the sickle cell gene. So which is AS. So the father got AS, the mother got AS. So what's the possibility or probability of percentage that the parent will have a child with sickle cell? So let's assume if they will have 4 children, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's look at it there. If the parents pair, if the mother A pair with the father A, they will have AA. The mother A pair with the father S, the both of them will have AS. I mean, you have a child with AA or a child with AS. If the mother S pair with the father A, this one, they will have AS. If the mother S down pair with the father S, they will have SS. So now see the percentage. They have 1, 2, 3, 4 children, assuming this child does not even carry the gene at all. The genotype is AA. And they have another child who is a carrier of this sickle cell gene, AS, but it does not have any symptoms manifesting on him or have any effect. The third child is also a carrier of this sickle cell gene. Now, the unfortunate one is the last child, who is the victim of sickle cell from both parents. So now look at the percentage. The percentage of sickle cell is 25%, which is 1 child in 4 children. 1 in 4 children is sickle cell victimized. Then how many persons are carrier of the sickle cell? We say 1, 2, right? So they are 25, and 50%. What the percentage is? 50%. So it will be like 2 in 4 children. What the percentage of non-carrier and non-affected sickle cell person is also 25%. I mean, 1 in 4 children that does not have this sickle cell. So this is clear. We advise people that it is important that you always make sure you do your genotype. Test your genotype before sharing with somebody. In our setting these days, in our setting most commonly, we don't do genotype and get married, and we just, by the grace of God, we are having children. So we understand this. If you and your spouse decide to have 2 children and you're just born 1, 2, you will have one without the carrier of the thing. You will have one without sickle cell carrying gene. You will have one who will be carrying it. But what if you start born and unfortunately you started with somebody who already got affected? Because the birth process can start from anywhere, possibly. It could start from here. Your first child will be this one. Not because we calculated from here like this. Your first child will be this one. Second child will be this one. So your first child could even be this one. Second child could be this one. So whatever there are 4 children, 1 among the 4 children will be sickle cell affected. So thank you so much. Keep following for more.